So, and I guess the main thing is, obviously, for me, bats are fantastic, and they're unique, and they're our only truly flying mammal, and they have all this intrinsic fascination, but they're also one of our indicator species. So when bats are doing badly, it means that the local environment is doing badly. And it's not just about sort of the plants and animals that live there, but we all know now, really, and I think especially in the last 6 months, how much that impacts our physical and mental well-being. A good environment should be somewhere that allows people to be productive in their workplace and schools. It helps people heal better, even if they're in hospital. That connection with nature is so important, and if we lose that, and bats are kind of one of those red flag species, if we lose that, then we really are in trouble. So yes, we should be looking after them for the sake of them, but also because we understand how important that is as an indicator of our the way our ecosystems are functioning. And they're great at pest suppression as well. They estimate in the US that bats contribute about $23 billion to agricultural pest control. So they're giving us all these multiple benefits. So it's kind of the least that we can do is to be considerate of them back, I think.
It makes me laugh that there's a kind of common thread, for all these podcasts where we've intervened so many times. You're talking about biological controls in the broader sense, and how we've damaged the environment so much that we've mucked around with all these food webs. So I think biological, using bats and using other things.
Yeah, we've come full circle. Yeah, we've gone back to, we've come in, we've tinkered around with the environment, and now, and especially places like, we get a lot of contact from people like vineyards who want to really reduce their pesticide use, and it's very common, especially in places like Portugal and Spain and stuff, that they'll have bat boxes throughout their vineyards, because why do the work when you've got something, we've got the perfectly designed, some of our bat species have been unchanged for around 35 million years. You've got skeletons 35 million years ago that are, because they're the perfect predators, they do exactly what they need to do, and we're coming along and tinkering with the environment. Just leave them to it. Yeah. Do
35 million years or with our egoic view on nature. I don't know which one I'd go for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they do exactly what they need to do, but they do it in darkness, and they do it, without us, mucking around with the pesticides and chemicals in their food webs. And so having that appreciation, I think, is giving us, we are in some respects turning the corner in terms of our understanding, and just my thing is just let them get on with it. They've been living alongside us for as long as we've been living in structures as well, and most of the time people will swear blind that they don't have bats in their buildings and structures, and it's like, but you just don't know it. They're so unassuming. They don't like make holes or create nests or take any mess into a building, so you wouldn't even know that they're there. And I think that's my big word of caution, if I was to say anything, is that a lot of this harm might be unintentional. Bats are in our structures, in our buildings. We might think that we're just doing a bit of repair work, or we're just taking a tree down without thought of what might be in there. And with a little thought and consideration, and talking to experts such as ourselves, we can support you and the bats. It's not an either or, and it's not putting bats ahead of people. We should be living alongside each other, and it's possible. Just ask the right questions, and that's what the Bat Conservation Trust are here for.
And it's the second time you've said that, where I think, again, that misconception is, we protect the bats beyond anything. We've got no understanding of the real world or commerce at all. I mean, it's great that you've
totally
a couple of times we are definitely working with you and for the bats as well. And
absolutely, yeah, that you can't get, it's the only way that we're going to affect change for bats, even if we're just being completely selfish, is if we bring people alongside us. But we're not, because the ultimate picture for us is that you have bats and people in cities together, living alongside each other. We can benefit each other if we're considerate. And the best thing about bats is I've been in and around Victoria, central, London, and recorded 5 species of our bats. They're throughout our cities. So you could take a child into any of the parks in London, find you know, a dark, quiet area, and you could see bats. You know, you could see a truly wild flying mammal, which just blows people's minds. The bat walks I do in South London, we're seeing 2, 3, 4 species of an evening. You know, where else do you get that kind of experience reliably, where people have access to nature, and then you have all the benefits that come with that in terms of, you know, mental well-being, and you know, and I just think you can't understate the benefits enough for our nature in our cities and people's free access to it as well.